know about life overseas as a black Christian missionary. Talking about relationships, God, fashion, and everything in between. Together, learning about a new culture and how they love. I'll take care of you, you take care of me, then everyone is taken care of. On Young Family, it's Lady A. You're watching MKJTV. You're watching MKJTV. On Young Family, it's Lady A. You're watching MKJTV. You're watching MKJTV. It's Avatar Teachers, really nice to meet ya. It's Avatar Teachers, really nice to meet ya. How you doing? It's Avatar Teachers, really nice to meet ya. It's Avatar Teachers, really nice to meet ya. On Young Family, it's Lady A. You're watching MKJTV. You're watching MKJTV.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, hi family, how are you? I'm telling you now, this is going to be a long video, so strap yourself in. Run you some dishwater, wash some clothes, go get a load of clothes to, I don't know, fold and iron, I don't know, but it's going to be a long video. I'm telling you ahead of time. Okay, so first of all, let me try and shoot through the major things first. The show is coming together beautifully. This tour is going to be awesome. I'm telling you guys. Like, every time I get off the phone, I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, there's one person I can't wait to tell you that they're coming, but I need to confirm it first because I don't want to get geeked. I don't want to get you guys geeked, and I don't want to get geeked, and then she don't come, and I'd be like, oh, dang. Just kidding, guys. So, I hope it all works out. I'm waiting to hear back officially from her. And, like, it's been crazy. People have been donating money to pull this off. People have been donating, camera crews and all sorts of stuff. Radios are doing interviews, and it's gonna be crazy. And camera crews, meaning we'll tape at least 2 of the shows, so if you can't come, you'll definitely be able to. So my hair looks crazy right now. It's cute from a different angle, but this angle I'm sitting in right now is not, and I'm just tired as well. I had this going on all day. Anyway, it was cute earlier, sorry. So I don't feel like doing it for the purpose of the video. It doesn't look too crazy. So it was kind of out and spiky, and I had this little Asian thing in it. It was cute with my outfit, but anyway. So I'm making you this video. I'm like extra pumped because I'm really sad. My great aunt, which is my grandmother's older sister, passed away, and if you follow me on Facebook, you've seen that already. And so I'm just processing that. You know, people always ask me what's the hardest thing living overseas, and immediately your answer you would think would be the culture difference, but it's not. That's something you can get used to. It's a mentality thing. Oh my gosh, losing people is just, it's the worst. It is the worst over, because you don't get a chance to grieve. Like, you don't really get a chance to grieve. I'm not a crier, but even if I cried, like, it's not the same as being around people who can validate your relationship, and people who know the inside jokes, and people who remember the things that you remember about them. Like, for example, how this woman could, like, down peppermints like it was nobody's business. Like, where did you even, what? Like, stay with peppermints. Church, sleep, peppermints. Just, breath was always fresh, okay? So, I mean, she really taught my grandmother how to be a lady, and which inspired me how to be a lady. I mean, I got my first string of pearls from my grandmother, who she was given the pearls from my Aunt Dorothy. And so anyway, so yeah, because I'm emotionally off, I'm not responsible for anything I say in this video. I'm just kidding. See, this video is good for me. So thank you guys for helping me grieve. This is good for me. So yeah, not being there, not being able to grieve, it kind of sucks, kind of blows. It's like the worst part of living overseas is when people you love pass away and you don't get to really grieve them the way that's healthiest, let me say that. So let's get right into it then, shall we? Okay, so the Q&A was from Alexandrine, which I love your name. Like, that's what's up. I love your name. And your YouTube handle is Sybil A from Central Florida. Whoop whoop. Okay, your question is what do I feel about Ayurvedic medicine, and should Christians do yoga? Okay, so those are 2 heavy questions, so I'm going to separate those. First, I'm going to tackle the yoga, and then I'm going to go into the Ayurvedic medicine. First of all, should Christians do yoga? I think Trying to not be offensive to anyone. Okay, I think you should do what makes you happy. But in that, you should totally like do your research and know what you're getting into and know what it is that you are seeking to get out of a situation. I feel like, you know, eat the fish and spit out the bones. Even the Bible says do that. Like, research. If it doesn't sit well with you, don't do it. Like, you know, we have total free will, and God is not like, if you do that, I'm gonna curse you. Blah, blah. It's not. I mean, do what you do. For me, I did look up and I love to research anyway. But in my research, one of the things I always do when I'm looking things up is ask an expert, because you could read as much as you want to, but it's open to interpretation, and it's totally based off of your understanding and your encounter and your experiences up to that point. So you may think, oh, there's nothing wrong with this, because you haven't been exposed to the other side of it. You know what I mean? So anyway, I talked to my two friends, Naila, and Naila is actually Naila is on the tour. Nyla, not Naila. Nyla is actually a princess. Actually, this is one of the beauties of going to international school. You meet everybody, right? Being the only black person was not so bad. So anyway, I talked to her a long time ago about yoga, and she was just like, people don't really understand what it is. She didn't go into too many details, but she was like, you know, because she's being diplomatic, and I love that. She was like, you know, people don't really understand all of what yoga is, and unfortunately, the people who are supposed to be the yogis and keeping yoga sacred and teaching the sacred beliefs of yoga, you know, unfortunately, those people have capitalized off of others' ignorance concerning, you know, yoga. And it's funny because I was like, we do that in black church all the time. We got plenty of pastors who leave off the important part, who leave off the truth, and who leave off like the meat and potatoes that you really supposed to get, because they want to keep you coming and keep your money in the plate. So I was like, I get it. I totally get it. Gotcha. Roger that. So for me, that just confirmed that there is more than just bending down on the mat. And I'm getting flexible. It's a little more than that. And then I asked my friend Sovik, and Sovik was like, he's a Brahmin, actually born in Brahmin. You can't like purchase that. You got to be born in. So he's like 5th, 6th generation. Like he's the truth. It's the truth. At the top of the food chain, you know. In India they have a caste system, so he's at the top of the food chain. I keep out of my arm. Something bit the crap out of me. Anyway, yeah, I asked him. I was like, yo, so we actually called him Chatterjee, which is his last name. So I was like, so Chatterjee, like, what's good with yoga? Like, is it terrible? Is it bad or whatever? And he knew I was a Christian, and I knew he was a Brahmin, and we were still homies. And he was like, you know, Ave, like, I wouldn't recommend that you do it because I know who you are, and I know what you stand for. And I think if you really knew why we do it, you wouldn't, that's not something you would do. And he was like, yeah, people do it, you know, without really knowing. He was like, but that doesn't necessarily make it a good thing. And I was like, okay. And he was like, you know, each of those positions, it means something. Like, you know, they have hundreds of gods, and you are positioning yourself to connect with that particular, you know, God. And that it's a bodily sacrifice. Like, you're contorting your body to do what you do. And I was like, okay, roger that. So next week, I don't need to do yoga. Like, I just don't. The fact that I don't know enough about it to say what I'm not doing, I don't think singing Kumbaya while I'm doing it is gonna cancel out what it's originally intended for, because it has an original intent, you know. So it's like, a hammer is a hammer. Now, it doesn't matter if I use it to spread icing on the cake. It's still a hammer. At the end of the day, it was designed to be a hammer. I have a hammer in my house, and at any point in time, I can use a hammer for what it's intended for. In fact, I'm probably more inclined to use it for what it's intended for because I'm used to having it. You know what I'm saying? I'm open to using the hammer, if y'all catching my analogy. So yeah, I was like, I'll pass. I'll pass. And even other things like you know, praying like this. You know, that's actually not in our faith. That's not what we do. That's not historically in our faith. You know, nowhere in the Bible does it say put your hands together. That's because it's really about bringing your chakras to a point of centeredness. And if you ask any yoga person, they will tell you exactly what this is for. And so praying pose. Well, they praying all right. They ain't praying to the Lord. So when I pray, and I discovered that a while back, but so when I pray, you know, I have either my hands open, my hands on, you know, I'm interactive with my prayer. So I specifically don't do this. And I don't tell little kids to do it either, because I'd be like, oh, I know what that's for. So anyway, what I'm saying is, to whom much is given, much is required. And it's not necessarily you have the weight of the world on your shoulders. You have the weight of your own world on your shoulders. So you really have to take the information that you take in, you have to apply it and check it with yourself. Weigh the spirit by the spirit. And funny true story, one of my friends who's watching this, I know she's gonna laugh because she was there. I'm gonna leave all the names out of it because I don't want to offend anybody, but she was there. We had a girlfriend, a mutual girlfriend, who was like, oh my God, I didn't know about yoga. And I was like, okay, yoga. And so I asked her, I was like, you know, well, you're a believer, so did you do your research about yoga? And she was like, oh, what do you mean? I mean, the whole script changed, and I was like, I mean, did you research? Do you know what yoga's about? Like, have you, you know, like, where did this come from? Like, do you have a point of contact? Like, what is happening? And she was, because it literally came out of nowhere. She's just like, oh, yoga. And she went off for like 10 minutes, like my style, like went off, like I'm like a long time. And she was like, you can't judge me. I can do yoga if I want to, and my faith is not, I'm not bothered because my faith ain't da da da. And I'm like, if yoga's that serious to you, you might want to recheck that. I mean, honestly, guys, anything that you can't see yourself living without and doing without, and it's just like, it's that intense, I can't go without this, you really need to evaluate that. Why can't you go without it? What does that particular thing have over you that is so important that you can't go without it? Can't be the meditation, because we get that in prayer. It can't be the feeling balanced. You're supposed to feel balanced in Christ. So what is it that you're getting? And again, Sybil, when you're doing your research, like, again, figure out what it is that you are getting, what it is that you're intending to get from doing yoga. Like, is it exercise? Is it, you know, what's the what? And two, and I did mention to my friend, I was like, you know, they have tons and tons and tons and tons of faith-based stretching, because that's really what people say they're getting out of it, is stretching, the stretching and the meditation. There is several programs out there where you can get your stretching in, you can get your meditation in, you can get your prayer on, you get your Jesus on, all at the same time without compromising or leaving yourself in a vulnerable state spiritually, I'm saying. So I would encourage you to check that out too, and in all thy getting, get an understanding. Amen. So that's my answer to you. I don't knock people who do yoga. Do what you do. It's not for me. Actually, you guys can see my rug. Can y'all see my rug back there? I don't want to turn all the way around, but my rug back there, that's my meditation stretching rug. Every morning I get up and I do my stretching, and I take deep breaths, because deep breathing is actually healing as well. So I take super deep breaths, like as big as I can open up my lungs, in and out. And I do stretching in the morning while I'm saying the Lord's Prayer. I go line by line, like, and I meditate on each word. And it takes like maybe 15-20 minutes, but like, my day is awesome. I feel refreshed. I feel ready for the day. I feel centered. I feel balanced. All the things that people say they get from yoga, I just say the Lord's Prayer and stretch it out. Like, make it work. And the more I do it, I feel myself getting back to my old flexibility. Like, yeah, man, I'm less likely to get angry at people. It's, yeah, just a little time with the Lord. Help you out. So that's my answer about yoga. And should Christians do it? To give you a yes or no, I'd say no. I think you have other options. Like, yeah, I'd say no. Okay, now back to the Ayurvedic medicine. Okay, so speaking of yoga, yoga would be under the branch of Ayurvedic medicine, which is basically Sanskrit for life science, and it's Hindu, and it's part of their practice. So the natural homeopathic medicines coincide with the yoga. So the yoga is like the worship part of it, and then the medicine is like the life-sustaining part of it. Now, I'm all for, like I said, not like I said, but I'm going to say that I actually use a lot of Ayurvedic remedies. They work for me. I love that they work for me. We are very, very, very natural people. In my family. I grew up with we still have aloe vera plants all around. Like, we will exhaust all natural remedies possible before we go to medicine. That's just how I was raised. And it's something that I felt like as I got older, I really needed to delve into, and I really needed to like write down these recipes and write down these remedies, so that, you know, as my elders are getting elderly, you know, there'd be another source, and that it would keep going after they passed on to their next journey in life. And so I really got into it when I went away to college, university, because I wanted to come back, you know, a better me. And so anyway, I loved the journey, and I actually had a very close friend who was like an herbologist. Like, he could whip you up. I mean, this dude knew the earth, like knew the earth. Like, I was like, sir, what was I learning? Where was I at for that day in school? He was like, you could say whenever you're ready, I will teach you everything I know. And I was like, sir, don't tempt me. I will drop out of school. Don't tempt me. So it was just awesome to know that all these things that doctors were telling people that you can never, and even me, you'll never have a cure for it. You have to live with this forever. You know what? I've been living with minimum symptoms with PCOS. I do have it, but I've been living with minimum symptoms. I have yet to have a cyst on any of my ovaries. Thank the Lord for that. But I think it's also because the whole point in ancient medicine and from any culture, the idea is prolonged life via prevention. You don't wait until something happens to deal with it. For example, in Ayurvedic tradition, which I use and I love, is sesame seed oil. Take sesame seed oil, a tablespoonful, I got some right over there. Take sesame seed oil and you put it in your mouth and you swish it around for 20 minutes. First thing in the morning, like soon as you get up, first thing in the morning. And when you put it in, it's clear, but when it comes out, you see all the toxins. Like, it literally just pulls the toxins out of you via your tongue. It's crazy. And of course you want to brush your tongue, you know, really good when you finish. But I mean, there were some symptoms and some things I was having issues with adjusting when I first moved, like health wise, to Korea, and I started doing that, and it was grand. I loved it, and I still do. It helps regulate your metabolism. You're less hungry during the day. Like, it's awesome. It's wonderful. It does wonders for your skin. Like, and it makes your teeth like ding, blinging white, like blinging white. And I didn't even realize that my teeth were getting whiter until people started really like, oh my God, are you going to see a dentist? Who's your American dentist around? And I'm like, no one. Dr. Sesame oil. That's who I'm seeing. So anyway, that's one of the things that I used. Turmeric. They use a lot of turmeric. You can take apple cider vinegar, a capful of that a day, and it will keep you flushed and regular. Like, it's a lot of wonderful things that you should use them. And here's the thing, like, you mentioned that it sounds hippie-ish, and it does. It does. I totally could get how that sounds hippie-ish outside. For me, it doesn't sound that hippie-ish because we use homeopathic medicine. Like, that's what we do in my family. So for me, it was an easy transition to open up to that. But here's the thing. Indigenous people from any landmass, because, you know, we all were one big landmass and then we spread apart, right? But indigenous people from any landmass, whether it's Native Americans, whether it's Native Americans from South America, whether it's Aborigines from Australia, indigenous people from Africa, like ancient civilizations here in Asia, I'm telling you, if you talk to any of them, they will all give you the exact same information, which is the earth knows how to take care of itself and us. And before all this Western medicine and other made-up quick fix stuff came, these babies, like, really, I'm falling out my seat. These babies really went in with this natural medicine, and I mean, they old and look good. Like, my great auntie who just passed, in her 90s, fly as ever, a head full of hair, and just excited about life. Like, my grandmother, again, in her 90s, I'm coming to see you, and I can't wait to... Grandma, I need you... What? Sit down. You can't go nowhere. Chill out. So, you know, we age slow anyway, you know. Black don't crack. No, I'm just kidding. But we do. The melanin people, high melanin people, we age slow anyway because of the melanin in our body. Our bodies take longer to break down over time. But with the enhancement of the help of Mother Nature, you can live well for a long time. You can do that. So I would say research it, go for it, get into it, do what you do. Like, and the parts that you don't feel comfortable with, you don't got to do. Like, you be the barometer for you. If you're uncomfortable doing X, Y, and Z, I would suggest you not do it. Prime example. So, and I have yet to talk about this on YouTube because I know that a lot of you guys, I'm on a journey. You guys are coming with me on a journey, right? But I also know that a lot of you guys really, really consider heavily what I say. And that's not at all me toot my own horn. I'm just saying, when I put stuff out there, we on the same page is what I'm saying. So when I say stuff, it holds a little more weight than somebody who you couldn't relate to, right? Like if some random person on the street was like, hey, do blah, blah, blah. You'd be like, get out of here. But because I'm saying it, because we family, you're going to actually consider what I say. So I never really brought it up because I didn't want the character of the channel to change, and I didn't want anything to be taken out of context because unfortunately talking to you via this way, it's a one-way thing. So I don't know what you're thinking, and I don't know what questions you might be shouting back at the screen, and I would love to answer you, but I can't hear you from all the way over there. So I try to steer clear of too many religiosity and spirituality things that I experience because, again, I don't think it's fair to you because I can't expound on them, you know. So, with that disclaimer being said, okay, let me back up. So my mother's mother, we don't actually know all of her pedigree because she was adopted into the family actually by the woman who passed, and we know that she's Native American. We know that she's white. Clearly, there's some black in there somewhere because Grandma Curvy. I mean, she got hips and everything. Like, whoa, you're not the average bear. So we're not sure of all of that pedigree just yet, but we do know that the local like all of my cousins are red, and we do know that the local Native American community like really was accepting, I guess you could say, of like our relatives and things. So we didn't know what all of that was about. We didn't want to go too far into that. And then my dad's mother is just straight up Native American, like straight up Blackfoot all day, just that's shit. But she fell in love with my grandfather, who was black, and but then he peaced out. But she remained with my father's family, with my grandfather's family. So it's just really interesting because, as I said, because of that, you know, we do a lot of herbal medicine and just, yeah, earthy, I guess you could say, earthy things and powwows and stuff like that, but we're still like black, like we're black, but you know, we have that part of our heritage as well, and we embrace that too. And more so my father, he was very, 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 very close to my grandmother, whom I never met because she passed away from a migraine, unfortunately. But he was very close to her, so for him, staying in contact and staying in contact with that part of his heritage, it really helps him feel close to her. And so, you know, that's not something you could be, you know, you just take from somebody. And so anyway, my point in this background is that as I got older, I felt like it was up to me, not from both sides, you know, from the Native American heritage and from the black heritage, both of which all about natural medicine. We just do natural, that's what we do, natural medicine. And I felt like as I got older, I really needed to immerse myself into that. And what are the spiritual components of this as well, so that as the elderly are getting elderly, I could carry that on, right? So anyway, in college, I decided to really, really delve into it. And that's where I met the herb guy, and he was bomb.com. And I was like, sir, you are really fly for real. Like, that's what's up. So I really got into herbal medicine, and I was able to help cure my father of like chronic cholesterol, and like I had him come and do a consultation. It was really, really great. So anyway, I said all this to say, now let me back up. I already explained, you know, how the Native American components fit in, right? And I literally am, and I know y'all looking at the screen like, girl, you black, and I am black, and I never really, as I mentioned on a different video, actually I think I took that video down, I never really go into my Native American heritage because I'm older. So I grew up in a time where everybody named mama was like, oh girl, I'm part Indian, and it was just like, I never even wanted to say anything about it because I was just like, yeah, I don't want to be one of you. I don't want to be trying to be anything other than black. Like, I think black is beautiful. I grew into my skin, and I think it's a wonderful culture. I'm proud to be who I am, but I also know that a part of who I am is also Native American. So, and I think also there was self-esteem issues because I literally am the black sheep of the family. Like, I am dark compared to my mother and my father and my siblings. They're all, the darkest they go is like caramel, and then after that it's all yellow from there. Like, that's just it. Long, beautiful, silky hair. Yeah, I didn't get any of that. I got my grandma's smile. That's about it. All I got, and that random dimple right there. All of my sisters and brothers, yeah, you're just like, ooh, you so exotic. Yeah. Is this your friend? No, I'm the little sister. So, anyway, yeah, man. Whales. I love whales. I've always loved whales. I can remember going to the aquarium and the whales would like come up to the glass, and I was just like, take me with you. Like, I love whales. I always have. I remember when I was a kid and we had to make these totem poles in school. And side note, like, North Carolina has a huge Native American population. Like, we still do. There are like 2 reserves. Like, we have giant powwows. We have parades. Like, it's nothing to be on the side of the road and see like the medicine man like on the street. Like, oh, you need to take this clay and eat it while you're pregnant and it'll help your Braxton Hicks. Like, seriously, true story. Like, it's, the Native American culture was so meshed with ours, it wasn't like foreign to us. And so my mother's best friend, when we lived across the other side of town, my mother's best friend was Cherokee, and like just straight up Cherokee, but her boo thing was black. And so their daughter Angela was my close friend. So our mothers were friends and we were friends. And then they had to move. When they had to move, she gave me a dream catcher. You know, obviously to chase the best spirits away, whatever. But it was a whale. It was awesome. Like, it had a little, like it was like yin and yang, and then it had this little killer whale. It was awesome. It was like, whales. Like, I love whales. I did whales. I'm a totem pole. Like, whales. I really love whales, right? Okay, so where's the story going? At 26 minutes in. This story is going to this place. So, I'd say when I was in college and I really just kind of started studying Native American medicine and practices, and I really got into like the 10 commandments of the Native American culture, specifically the Blackfoot Indian, and because that's what my grandmother was. And so I really like got into the Native American 10 commandments and spirituality and the medicine wheel and how that relates to man being in 4 parts, you know, mind, body, spirit, and soul, and really just keeping that regulated and how one connects to the other, and you got to tap into one in order to get the other on point. Like, I really went there, and I started having these dreams with whales in them. Whales everywhere, like whales. But these dreams are on point though. Like, soon as whatever I dreamed, it would happen, and it was like on point and accurate. So I stopped having the dreams for a while. I recently got back into brushing up on my studies, and then the whales returned, and I was like, oh, okay, hi whales. It's been a while. Nice to see you. So, and it'd be different kinds of whales, just whales in general. So, recently I was having this dream about, there were these 2 whales. One was a little whale, one was a big whale, and they were always in these confined spaces. Like, the very first dream I remember was a pool. Then there was a whale, the 2 whales were in a lake, and then where they aren't supposed to be, you know, they need open space. They were where they were not supposed to be. And these small, like, who keeps whales in pools? Like, and I remember thinking that in the dream, like, why are you get out the pool? What are you doing? Like, that's what I was thinking, right? So anyway, I kept having this dream. I had it for like 2 weeks straight. I was like, what is the problem? What is going on? And I wanted to tell my mother about it, but I hadn't told my mother. I really kind of my mother and I are very close. My mother's also very spiritual. She's like old school Pentecostal, which is what I was raised, and nothing wrong with it. Do what you do, and I'm excited because that's my foundation. I'm all about holiness of hell. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, she's also one of those, like, if it's not edifying the body, like, that's not what you need to be doing. So I didn't even want to talk to her about it because I knew she was gonna be like, are you praying while you doing this? Because you know you already spiritual, and then you tap into other spirituals. You need to just be careful with that, right? So I didn't tell her that I had, I was getting back into it, and I definitely didn't tell her I was having dreams again with whales, because she knew about it the first time. She was like, I don't know about that. So I mean, she accepted it, but she was just like, okay, we have to see, how that pans out on the Christian side of things, and then we'll figure out what to do with that. So anyway, that's what I'm trying to make this video shorter. Oh my God. And yes, so we so I decided to tell her, because I wanted to tell, because she's like my best friend. I wanted to tell her, like, hey, I'm having dreams again about this one. And I wanted to tell about this one specific dream, because whenever I have dreams in repetition, they do mean something, and they are gonna have something to do with the universe that I live in, not dream world, like real world. And so I wanted to tell her, and then she said something. We weren't talking about whales, but she said something, and I was like, ooh, I'm gonna skip on the whale part. So I ended the conversation. I hung up. That night I had the dream again. This time the whale died. The big whale died, and I was like, because I thought it was my mother, and I was like, oh, I knew, I felt in my heart of hearts that it was my mother, and I was like, oh, look, I was like crying, and I don't cry. I'm not a crier. Just don't cry. I was boo crying, like, I done killed my mama. Like, I was going through it, y'all. I was going through, and then I was calling, and I couldn't get her on the phone, and it, which just intensified, and I was like, oh my God. Finally she called me back, like a whole, I don't know how many hours. That was the longest hours ever. She called me back, and she was like, why, are you okay? And I was like, Mommy, I thought you was dead. She was like, whoa, why would I be dead? And I was like, and I explained to her about the dream. I finally, like, told her about the dream. She was like, oh, the whale's me. Really, Mom? Because I want you to not be cool your whole life. Like, because this is what my mother does. I think that my mother is, like, all boxed in. And she's like, no, honey, let me tell you. So my mother was like, no, that the whale was me. It was me. And I've been wanting to tell you X, Y, and Z, da, 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 da. And she was like, if I don't do this, then this situation is going to basically take me out. Not kill her literally, but it was a different situation, and it would have been a terrible ending. And I was like, Mommy, why didn't you tell me? Like, I could help you with that. She was like, you're my daughter. It's not your job to help me with that. But anyway, we did get the situation straightened out, and she didn't die, and it was awesome. But spiritually, naturally, or financially, amen. But yeah, so anyway, back to this. So when my mother finally accepted that, that mattered to me, because my mother's also my personal spiritual, like, pastor, I guess you could say. I run everything by her. She's so in tune. She has never, ever, ever led me wrong. She's never been off spiritually, ever. Like, my whole life, she's never been off spiritually. At least not me. I don't know about other people, but for me, she's never, ever, ever been off. Like, ever. Prophetically, my mother's on it. So the fact that my mother welcomed that and accepted that, I was like, okay, I can move forward in this now. And so anyway, I started looking up what animals meant, and when you dream about them, and da-da-da-da, and that led me to animal spirit guides. And that's how I got to know that my animal spirit guide was a whale. Who knew? Apparently the whale knew, and he was trying to say what's up the whole time. So, and don't be weird or weirded out. It basically just means that the characteristics that you have come from somewhere. They're not just randomly, oh, just who I am. They come from somewhere, and those things are highlighted according to these animals, right? And so so yeah, my animal spirit guide is a whale. When I opened up to that, they come all the time now. I'm like, what up? Like, they warn me, like, I know when things are about to happen. Whoop, my little whale comes, like, hey, player, you should maybe rethink that. And it's awesome. Like, and opening up to that did not close me off to Christ. It did not close me off to God, because trust and believe me, if God ever was like, oh, then I'd be like, oh, like, but I've gotten all green. And I think the other part of it too is that in my research, again, if anything feels conflicting, or if anything doesn't sit right, I immediately am like, I'm good. I'm good. You good. You good. I'm good. Everybody good. I'm just not gonna pass. So that's just how I approach things. That's how I approach life. So I'm open to anything as long as it doesn't compromise my spirituality, and as long as it doesn't compromise my connection with God, because that's something that I covet, like with my life, like not covet, cherish with my life, is my ability to go to God freely and to have a relationship with him freely. And I would never say or do anything that would put that in jeopardy. And so for example, again, most of the Native American spirituality is really in line with the Bible. Actually, the majority of it is treating others how you want to be treated, and living to sacrifice for others, and like the 10 Commandments are like awesome. And so anyway, but animal spirit guides are awesome. They're great, and all that comes with that is great, and I'm still learning. I'm still down that journey. But when it gets to the point that it's like you need to worship the fire god instead of God in these things, and acknowledging them as separate creation entities, I can't. When you finish praying, I'll be right here. And we can keep talking after that. Like, there's one chief who, he's awesome, and he was like, there is no Native American spirituality. Like, it's not. This is connect with the world around you or don't. Like, it's not a practice that you like learn or whatever. And I really, really appreciated him saying that, because it's true. And I think that we all need to be more in tune with what's going on around us, and what we're allowing around us, and what we are a part of, and what we're being the catalyst for around us. I think we need to be responsible for that. And a guy was like, well, how do you guys know what medicines to use for your different ailments? And he was like, we don't know. We let the world tell us. Like, we look at the animals. We look when they have issues and whatever. They go and use us. We use them because we're all connected. Like, they bleed the way we bleed. And it was just really beautiful hearing him explain, like, it's not anything that we own this. We are blessed to even know that this exists. And they do acknowledge the Great Spirit, they call him, but I mean, they acknowledge God all the time, like the creator of everything, who's gonna put all things the way they're supposed to be. But in the meantime, we have to be responsible for our part to keep things in balance. So I gave that long, grandiose, drawn out ramble session to tell you that I think being spiritually open is a gift. I don't think everybody can do it. And that's not into my own horn. I'm just saying, I think that you have to have a certain amount of settlement and a certain amount of integrity in your own spiritual walk, and being able to be true to you and where you're at, and being real with you and where you're at and with God. And then you can open up to other things, because he's not gonna let that door fling too wide open. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's a beautiful thing to be able to glean from other cultures, and be able to glean, especially from indigenous people, like being able to glean their wisdom and their understanding about how to be better connected as humans, and how to be open to what's going on beyond what meets the eye. I think that's beautiful. Not everybody can do that, because some people will take that and run with it and just right off the side of a cliff, and you're just like, ooh, that's a long way down, player. You know what I mean? Like, some people just can't do that. They already spacey. They just spacey folks, and they come in contact with something, they just ride it all the way to the end, and it's like, woo, yeah, your back wheel is like all off, and you just traveling like this, and you don't even know. You're like, hey, look, mom, no hands. That's just all over. So I do count it a gift and a blessing, and a beautiful thing to be able to go down this journey, but go down this journey with some common sense. So my answer to you is my very, very long answer, because those are two heavy questions. So even though this video is telling me that it's 40 minutes, just pretend that it's 20-20, right? 20 for the first answer, 20 for the second answer. So my answer is, I think you should do your research. I think Ayurvedic medicine is beautiful, but you do need to pay attention to what you're doing, because there are certain things that have nothing to do with medicine. It's about worship and emptying the mind and trying to get to the second Veda and shaking up the chakras and all that. You need to pay attention to that. You need to be aware, be spiritually aware of that. Be in the world, but not of it. Shando, hallelujah. And as far as yoga, I'd pass. That's just me. If it's about stretching and meditation, you can get that anywhere. That's just me. Okay, so Ta-da! That's what I wanted to say. Oh, and somebody, I don't remember who, somebody asked me, what does shondo mean? Okay, so let me very quickly. Shondo is when I use tongues. Okay, I use tongues in my regular conversation because I use it all the time in my worship. And so when I say it, shondo, it's like a relaxed tongues. And probably other Christians, if you say it to them, they'll get it like ah ha ha ha. But yeah, it's me and my friends. We have an inside joke with Shondo. Won't will, he'll do it. So we joke around with it. So that's my part tongue is what that is. So when you hear me say Shondo, that's just me being extra. That's all. Don't feel like there's some like hidden language that you can get the memo on. It's just tongues. It's just me cutting up. So anyway, I hope this really long video answered your question, because you asked me 2 big questions. Side note, y'all, I'm going home. I'm so excited to see me some Cowboys. Actually, I was on base and this nice looking man called me ma'am, and he was like straight Southerner, and I was like, I can't wait to go home. Because you hear it all the time. Like, oh, let me get the door for you, ma'am. Like, you hear that all the time. And then I missed how much I don't hear it here. It's grand. It was really nice. I'm ready to go home. So ready to see me some Cowboys, Lord. I'm ready. Woo, if I don't come back to Korea, y'all will know why. Shondo. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, guys. It's a really long video. I'm so sorry. I haven't done one of these in a long time. So, thank you for your question. Everyone else, leave everything else at the bottom. Okay, see you guys later. Bye.